This is the digital channel of the General Overseas Service of All India Radio. I am Manoj Mainkar, and in the next half hour, I'll bring to you news updates from India and around the world, awareness videos on coronavirus by Government of India, and a lot more. We'll begin with the news updates.
This is the General Overseas Service of All India Radio. Namaskar, the news snippets. 26,48,998 people have recovered from COVID-19 in the country till now. In the last 24 hours, 65,050 recoveries were reported. Recovery rate is 76.47%. Total tests in the country has crossed 4 crore. In the past 24 hours, 9,28,761 tests were conducted for COVID-19. Supreme Court has ruled that universities and other institutes of higher education will have to conduct final year exams and cannot promote students on the basis of internal assessment or other criteria. Agriculture sector has seen record sowing during the Kharif season. Paddy, oilseeds and pulses are expected to see bumper output. 1,082 lakh hectares have been sown till now. 4 terrorists belonging to the Al-Badr terrorist group were killed by security forces in Shopian district, Jammu and Kashmir. 2 of the terrorists were involved in the killing of a panchayat member in Pulwama. The meeting of defense ministers of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO will take place next week in Moscow. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh will be participating in the meeting. President Ramnath Kovind conferred the National Sports Awards today through video conferencing. Shooter Jaspal Rana was one of the Dronacharya awardees. The Arjuna Awards were also conferred on eminent Indian sportspersons. Pakistan is racing against time to fulfill the 27 conditions laid out by the Financial Action Task Force FATF for strict action against terror funding. The next session of FATF will take place in October. Thousands of people held a protest in Washington, D.C., calling for racial equality following recent incidents of racially targeted attacks by authorities in the U.S. About a dozen support staff and a player of Chennai Super Kings IPL team have tested positive for COVID-19. The IPL cricket matches are to start next month in the UAE. And that is the end of the news snippets. This is the General Overseas Service of All India Radio. We now bring you a special film-based program from our archives.
We are very happy to have in our studios today a very young and well-known Tamil film music director, Harish Venkat, who's already scored music in 2 Tamil films, Suttakadai, and the next one is Nerungiva Muttam Irate. And this is going to be released very soon. So Harish, first of all, thank you very much. I know you were too busy in Delhi on work and other things and you still spared time. First of all, I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience. About yourself.
Namaste to everyone. My name is Harish and I'm a music producer, composer from Chennai, and it gives me immense pleasure to talk to you all. I am doing music under the screen name Madly Blues. It's a couple of us, me and my friend Prashant. So we constitute the music composers. Yarumbaga manenjil pupu kunero nero yengo pagu mego inge turado. Hey, yaru solla maduro pogudinde duro duro vartayellam besi besi tirado. So these are a couple of lines from the movie that I'm currently working on. It's called Neringiva Muttamidare.
So what does the lyrics mean? Because the title of the film is very interesting. So from the music composer himself, we'd like to know the lyrics.
It's a very interesting title for many reasons. One being that the title means come close and do not kiss. It may give the perception that it's a fully romantic movie or something, but it's about a road trip. You may find these lines in South India behind lorries.
Yeah, there's a
written in
pan-Indian sentiment, that we have trucks and they carry
Yes.
all sorts of great messages, and sometimes as the title of your movie suggests, they carry much more deeper meaning than what it
Than
is
what
just
is-
literally
reflecting out.
reflected. So Harish, that's all great to know, but tell us about how did you get into music? As I understand from talking to you earlier, right from your school days, you were into music, especially fusion music. You had a band called Oxygen.
Correct.
Can we take a trip down the memory lane?
Yeah, it'll be really great because from where we started during my school days, just as when I was a child, I used to learn music, Carnatic. I was rendering concerts in keyboard itself. So that helped me obtain Swarasthanam, which is the placement of swaras. So that gave me some idea, and I was always passionate about music. There were loads of people who inspired me. During my higher secondary school, I started a band with my friend. It's called Oxygen. We started off as a fusion music band, which was plainly, combining Carnatic, and we had some Western elements to it. Slowly, we brought world music into it. More instruments, international instruments, and we collaborated with people all over, and we launched an album. We diversified into world music album.
That's
World
great.
music band.
Great. And also, I'd like to know from you, just as you mentioned in your own introduction, about your band, which even scored music for these two films that we just spoke about, Madly Blues. The name, why it is Madly Blues, and what kind of music exactly are you belting out from your band?
So yeah, I have to take it from the band because when we diversified into world music, we got this great studio exposure, recording things, and the passion behind registering one's ideas. These things really inspired me a lot during when I was doing my engineering after school. Even then, I was really into music. Then we participated in a reality show called Ooh La La La. That was judged by Rahman sir himself. And we ended up as winners. So during that we met loads and loads of musicians. So there were many winners in the competition, and we all got to do an album which was produced by Rahman himself.
Oh, that's great. Great indeed.
So him being one of our greatest inspirations. That's when I met my friend Prashant. He was from some other band. So we both were interested and passionate about registering, there will be a lot of independent expressions. Once, for anyone who lives in a society, he will have something to say. He'll have emotions, he'll
Absolutely.
have expressions. And we thought music is one of the best platforms to, communicate it thoroughly.
Absolutely.
So a sense of fulfillment is there. So after engineering, I took to audio engineering to learn the nuances of recording, mixing and mastering, and so many things that you can do with a studio. So we both were working for a brief period, and then we decided, okay, this is it. We have to get into music. And that's how it started. We were not sure whether we would definitely choose movie music, doing scores for a film. We never knew, because when we started off as independent musicians. We recorded many interesting musicians from Chennai band scene and featured them in our independent tracks, which we produced. So listening to these tracks, we got an opportunity to do our first film. It's called Suttakadai. 2 years. That was 2.5 years back. We started. And yes, that's how it all started.
Harish, for someone who is into fusion music, world music, and you had your own band, you had a great lot of experience where music is concerned, and of course you are a trained audio engineer. Is there any difference from your own performing or running a band than being a music composer in a out and out commercial film, shall I say?
Well, it's every commercial product has a core which is very folk and sometimes very folk and ethnic, and it's from within. So independent music is all about the innermost emotions, like straight without any processing. Of course, to translate it and give it in a palatable form, in commercial form, it undergoes a lot of process. But what we have tried to do in the couple of movies that we have worked with, we have been very fortunate because we are just given a task to work to our strengths, which is recording live band musicians. And for instance, we recorded live drums for our second movie now, for all the songs we recorded in Mumbai. An artist called Jairo Kavi. He's been everywhere. He's one of the pivotal drummers in the Indian band scenario. So it was a great opportunity, and we got to work with a lot of independent musicians as well. Nandini Shrikar is one. She's a music producer and excellent musician herself. And Millie Nair, and we recorded Shankar Madhavan Ji for one song.
Oh, that's great. Great. Absolutely great. One more thing that I'd like to ask you, since we are in the 21st century, whether pan-India, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from the Ran of Kutch to Arunachal Pradesh, we have very strong music, especially film music also. Melodies are 24/7 aired on radio networks and TV networks. There is a feeling, this is not my feeling or the feeling of our listeners, but some Puritans have said that melody has gone out of music, especially film music. What is your reaction to that?
I think it's everything, we all know that everything changes and transition is inevitable. But having said that, it is of course true that there were, the focus was given to the lyrics and the melody behind it previously. Now with the advent of sound technology, we have so many things that we can do. There was a brief period that, we are still in that era. It's people like thumpy music, high energy, triggering those high frequency elements in music. That became an all new fantastic experience to the ears. So, but during this period, of course, it's true that there has been a compromise on, or let's not call it compromise. It's the way things which go. If you have something new, then something which is very underlying may not be given prominence. So that's what is happening. But now, currently, again, I think now they are reverting back era where all these synthesizers, digital music. That was dominating. Now it's slowly coming back in a circle because people are more keen in recording live nowadays. Great music producers have always, struck a good balance recording live, and so recording live instruments is a very important and integral element in music production. And now people are again, even young and aspiring music producers, they really want to record live musicians, which is a very healthy thing.
Great. Harish, one more thing that I'd like to ask you is that since you come from Chennai, the headquarters, or if one can say the Mecca of Tamil film world, and it has a history of great film music composers. So many, I wouldn't name, you know them better than me. What would you like to say on this great tradition of having great music composers in Tamil films?
We've had amazing composers ever since, the film started.
Yes.
K.V. Mahadevan to start with. Then we had a great era of M.S. Vishwanathan. He revolutionized the entire scene. Whatever is, most of the things that we are proud of is because of what he has done. He's one of the greatest inspirations to most movie musicians, and also many. He's one of the trendsetters. He's a legend, and we were very grateful to start our music journey with him. Our first song we started recording. He was 85 years old then. Now he's 87 or something. And the passion with which and enthusiasm with which he worked with us, it really inspired us, and I think it's the greatest blessing that we've got so far.
That's great.
This is again a song from my movie. I would like to just say a few words before I sing this about this song. It's called Kalikalam. It's going to be in Tamil, but let me just tell you the fundamental idea behind this. Many people say the world is, human beings are dominating the world in a very, severe way, and they are facing their own repercussions of whatever they have done to the world. So it's like a reckoning or awakening call.
Okay, great.
Again, this is a folk song. கலிகாலம் முத்தி போச்சு மனுஷம் மனசு மாறி போச்சு நாய தர்மம் குறைஞ்சு போச்சு மயக்கம் தெளிஞ்சு முடிச்சு பாருங்கடா 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 கலிகாலம் முத்தி போச்சு மனுஷம் மனசு மாறி போச்சு நாய தர்மம் குறைஞ்சு போச்சு மயக்கம் தெளிஞ்சு முடிச்சு பாருங்கடா 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 காடெல்லாம் குறைஞ்சு போச்சு பச்சை மரம் எல்லாம் பட்டு போச்சு மண்ணில வாசம் விட்டு போச்சு மயக்கம் தெரிஞ்சு முடிச்சு பாருங்கடா பாருங்கடா ஹே மழை தண்ணி மழுங்கி போச்சு மழை தண்ணி மழுங்கி போச்சு மூச்சு காத்து வகையில் போச்சு காதல் கூட விலக்கு போச்சுதடா கலிகாலம் முத்தி போச்சு மனுஷம் மனசு மாறி போச்சு.
That was really great, and on behalf of everyone, that is my producer and the audience and my own personal self, we wish you all the very best, and we hope that someday again when you are here in Delhi, we'll be able to have you in our studios. Thank you so much.
It's been such a pleasure for me, and I thank everyone who organized this, and it's a great feeling to address people directly from the heart. I wish everyone a very happy Diwali.
You were listening to a special film-based program from our archives. This program came to you from the General Overseas Service of All India Radio.
If you do not have any respiratory symptoms such as fever, cough, or runny nose, you do not need to wear a medical mask like this one. Mask alone can give you a false feeling of protection and can even be a source of infection when not used correctly. Masks should only be used by healthcare workers, caretakers, or by people who are sick with symptoms of fever and cough. Why? Because healthcare workers and caretakers are in close contact with ill individuals, so they are at higher risk of catching COVID-19. And sick people should wear masks to protect others from small droplets that can come out when they cough or sneeze. So, for healthcare workers, caretakers, or individuals who have fever and cough, this is how you should wear a mask. Before touching the mask, clean your hands with alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. Inspect the mask for tears or holes. Verify which side is the top. This is where the metal piece is. Then identify the inside of the mask, which is usually the white side. Then fit the mask on your face. Pinch the metal strip or stiff edge so it holds to the shape of your nose. Adjust the mask over your face, covering your mouth and chin, making sure there are no gaps between your face and the mask. Do not touch the front of the mask while using it to avoid contamination. If you accidentally touch it, clean your hands. To take off the mask, remove the elastics from behind without touching the front and keep it away from your face. Discard the mask immediately in a closed bin and clean your hands. It is important not to reuse a mask. Replace it with a new one as soon as it gets damp. And remember, the best way to protect yourself from the new coronavirus is frequently cleaning your hands with alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. Stay safe and see you next time.
You are with us on the General Overseas Service of All India Radio. We now bring you today's commentary, India's pivotal role in the Afghan rebuilding process. It is scripted by Dr. Smita, strategic analyst on AF-Pak affairs, and read by Kaushik Rai. A high-level delegation comprising Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, the head of the Afghan Taliban's political office in Doha, arrived in Pakistan this week to discuss the way forward in the Afghan peace process with the leadership of Pakistan. This was the second visit of Mullah Baradar to Pakistan in the last 10 months. He had also visited Islamabad in October 2019, just after President Donald Trump had abruptly called off the peace talks with the Taliban, citing the militant group's continued attacks against the US-led foreign forces in Afghanistan. The talks in Islamabad were also attended by the head of Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence ISI, Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid. The spy agency is known for its mentorship and close ties with Afghan armed groups, especially the Taliban, since the time of the former Soviet Union's occupation of Afghanistan in the 1980s. The Pak spy agency is believed to have used its influence with the Taliban to bring them to the table for talks and ultimately sign the February deal with the US. The Taliban had said that it does not recognize the Ashraf Ghani government as legitimate just ahead of the intra-Afghan talks. Taliban has said it views the Afghan government as a Western imported structure working for the continuation of American occupation. Significantly, the talks between Taliban and Pakistan took place just after Islamabad had put the Afghan terror group on the list of 88 individuals and groups who support, aid, abet and finance terrorist activities. It is a well-known fact that Pakistan remote controls the Taliban. It would be interesting to see how Pakistan carries on its relations with the Taliban, whom Islamabad itself has proscribed. India and Afghanistan have a strong relationship based on historical and cultural links. India has played a significant role in the reconstruction and rehabilitation of Afghanistan. New Delhi believes that democracy and development are the key instruments to ensure that Afghanistan becomes a source of regional stability. This has been reflected in the strategic partnership agreement signed between Afghanistan and India during the then Afghan President Hamid Karzai's visit to India in October 2011, which reinforced the strong, vibrant and multifaceted relations between the two countries and at the same time formalized a framework for cooperation in various areas between the two countries: political and security cooperation, trade and economic cooperation, capacity development and education, and social, cultural, civil society and people-to-people relations. This agreement is a strong signal of our abiding commitment to peace, stability and prosperity in Afghanistan during this critical period of security and governance transition. India has been involved in the rebuilding of Afghanistan since 2003. Till now, India has invested over $2 billion in building infrastructure like roads, schools, hospitals, etc. New Delhi also built the biggest dam in Afghanistan, the India-Afghanistan Friendship Dam, formerly the Salma Dam on the Hari River. It was jointly inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Ashraf Ghani. The dam's hydroelectric plant produces 42 megawatts of power in addition to providing irrigation for 75,000 hectares of farmland. It also stabilizes the existing irrigation of 35,000 hectares and development of irrigation facilities to an additional 40,000 hectares of land. India is also involved in educational and skill development activities of the Afghan people. India is closely following the developments in Afghanistan. Despite being skeptical of any kind of rushed deal, New Delhi had welcomed the pact between the US and Taliban. New Delhi has backed the Ghani government and wants the Taliban to recognize the democratic political structures in Afghanistan. During the ongoing pandemic, India has been supplying medical aid and food to Afghanistan consistently, following its policy of helping common Afghan citizens. While the world is engaged in dealing with the COVID-19, Afghanistan is struggling both with the pandemic and the fluctuating peace process. While many Afghans see the peace process as the best hope for ending the decades-old war with the Taliban, it remains to be seen how committed the militant group would be to reconciliation, especially in the aftermath of the US troops' withdrawal. That was today's commentary. India's pivotal role in the Afghan rebuilding process. It was scripted by Dr. Smita, strategic analyst on AFPAK affairs, and read by Kaushik Rai. This broadcast came to you from the General Overseas Service of All India Radio.
This broadcast came to you from the digital channel of the General Overseas Service of All India Radio.